All right, well, let's get started on a new week in our class. Well, here we are. So let me go back to our class. I have to get there first. On Multimedia Design and Development, and this is April 23rd. And so we're starting out on our second to last week. This is really our last week of any instruction that you're learning from, and you're going to be working this week on your video project that will be due next week. So remember about that. The video project is due next week, and you're going to create either a drama or documentary, as you hopefully know, and you can find the requirements right here. Again, 3 to 5 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes for graduate students is the length. And you know, we're looking for quality for a documentary or for a drama. We're looking for quality video, good B-roll footage for documentary, high quality audio, different shots, you know, appropriate wide, medium, and close-up shots edited together, as well as for the drama. You know, there's just a lot of good things that we're looking for. So take a look at those requirements there as you get ready to do this assignment. And then next week also you're just going to post your video. So you're going to post a link to your video so that others can view it. But that's all that's due next week. This week, it's time to get started with editing of your video. Hopefully you have shot the video or you're close to getting that shot, but you have basically until May 5th to have the video completely shot and edited in order for it to work. So that's what we're talking about today. Video editing. So what you're going to do is install some video editing software. If you have a Mac computer, then you probably don't have to install anything because you can use Imovie to edit your video. If you have an iPad, you could shoot and edit your video all right on the iPad using Imovie for iPad. But do check to make sure you do have Imovie installed on your iPad. It's a great software. I'll be presenting a little bit more about it in a minute. And if you have a Windows computer, you know, again, my recommended software to download and install is Windows Movie Maker, and you can install and download the software. There's a link there to get that. It's software that is no longer available, but we can find it still on the web and use it. And in fact, I haven't found a better editor on Windows than Windows Movie Maker. So, excuse me. So that's a great software tool. So make sure you get that video, whichever one you're going to use, installed. You can use other editing software as well, as long as it allows you to do what the requirements of the assignment are. You're also going to be reading chapter 15 and the conclusion from the textbook. White space is not your enemy. And then also there are some presentations on video editing. Now you are going to select which presentations are best for the software that you're using. You probably don't need to, unless you're interested in learning more about Movie Maker or one of the other software that you don't have, you can watch those, but you probably don't need to watch every movie on here. You just want to choose the one for you. So if you're a Mac user, you have iMovie, these are the videos to watch to show you how to use the software. If you are on the iPad and have iMovie, then these are the tutorials you want to watch. And if you are on Windows Movie Maker, these are the tutorials you want to watch. Okay, so those are the choices that you have. If you have chosen another software to edit, that's fine, but you might need to look up or find ways to use that software if you're not familiar with it already. So that's the activities for this week. But I did want to take a moment and just kind of give you a nice little tutorial about just doing a good job with editing things in whatever software you use. This happens to be on my iPad in iMovie, which I think is probably one of the best ones to choose for a beginning editor. And it's what I use in my digital media camp every year for students from 4th through 6th grade to learn how to edit it as a beginning type of editor. So I just wanted to take a moment and show this to you briefly. So I've got a project. This is a new movie project, and I'm just going to go to video and select some things in here. Now let's pretend that I chose to do a documentary, and so I have interviewees that I can select and put on here. One thing that you'll want to do is to do some good editing by cutting different people in and out of your documentary, so to speak. So I've got some clips that I'm choosing from on the upper right, and I can hit the little plus button there to add those into my documentary. And so I'll go ahead and do that. I'll add this one in. This is of my daughter. I'll just play it through. And here she's talking about something. And so maybe I just want to start here where she starts to talk. And so again, if you remember, and you'll see tutorials on this, you can split a clip just by making sure the playhead right here is on the spot that you want to split the clip. And then you can choose split down below, and that will split it. And then I can get rid of this clip by holding my finger over it and holding it down on it, actually, and then dragging it up here, and a little cloud puff shows up on the left hand top, and I can let it go and it'll go away. So let's pretend that I want her to speak for a second until about right here, and then I'm going to split the clip again and get rid of this one for later. Actually, I won't get rid of it though, I'll use it later. So this is something that you want to consider as a documentary person, if you're going to do a documentary for this class, is to take different clips from different people and interclip them or inter-edit them. In other words, put one interviewee and then the next interviewee and then another interviewee, and then go back to interviewee 1 again, showing something so that it's about a topic, right? If they're talking all about the same topic, for instance, then you want to interclip or inter-edit the different clips from each interviewee talking about that topic together. So this is something to be aware of. So I've got some more interviewees here, and I'll throw them in the middle. And I'm going to split, cut this clip as well and get rid of the later one and kind of put it like this. So now what I've got is I'm cutting from one person, and this next person's talking about the same thing. Then this person goes back to this person. They're continuing to talk about the same type of thing. And then again, I've got this person talking about something else or the same thing. And so that way you're making the documentary a lot more exciting rather than just showing one interviewee the entire interview and having just the one interviewee before you go to the next person. And that's not very exciting if you have the whole interview from one person and then you go to the whole interview from the next person. That doesn't make any sense either as far as exploring an issue, because you want to explore the different aspects of the issue together. So let's say that the issue is hamburgers, or the best hamburgers in town, which for none of you is this issue, but anyway, and you have somebody talking about Scotty's as a burger place in town, and they love Scotty's, and then you have another interviewee talking about Scotty's as well. You want to cut, and then each interviewee talks about another burger place as well. You probably want to cut it so that they're talking about Scotty's. So one interviewee talks about Scotty's, and then the next interview talks about Scotty's too. And then you want to cut to them talking about Max and Irma's, for instance, as another burger place in town, which I don't know if it's too big of a burger place, but anyway. And then you're gonna have interviewee 1 talk about Max and Irma's, and then cut to interviewee 2 talking about Max and Irma's as well. That's the technique for documentaries. Now another thing that you might want to do, well, you will want to do for a documentary, is to again remember the B-roll footage. So if I'm going to have my interviewees talking a little bit more, and if she talks about something else here, I can pop in some B-roll footage. And now this is, oh, I've got the wrong process for doing this. Hold on. So I want to bring in some extra footage over top of this footage here and insert this as B-roll footage so that, again, I have that as part of the experience that works with. So I want to insert B-roll footage that goes over top, but I can still hear the people talking on B-roll footage. So let's see if I can figure that out real quick. Yeah, B-roll footage. There we go. So I have this different option for B-roll footage. So for the iPad anyway, I can hit these extra options, and it's this one right here that allows me to insert B-roll footage over top of what I'm creating. So now you can still hear her talking, but you see this B-roll footage, so to speak, over top of it. And then it goes back to my interviewees after a minute. So let's pretend this is what they're talking about. That's some good B-roll footage, and it can cut from interviewee to B-roll footage to another interviewees to try to make, again, meaning as we try to edit video to make meaning. So that's just something about editing again. Whatever editor you use, you want to make sure that you intersperse the different clips. And for documentaries, you're going to add some B-roll footage that it jumps to show about what the interviewees are talking about. And then back to your interviewees. But again, don't just cut your interviewee, like don't just have one entire interview and then the next entire interview from someone else. Instead, intercut them so that you have them talking about the same types of issues as you go forth with your documentary project. So I think that's about it for this week. So just and also to remember that it does take time to learn about editing. So again, plan a little bit of time where you can just sit down with whatever editor you choose if you don't have any experience in it, and just try things out. Try to do things like this, cutting clips, putting the different B-roll footage in just to see. I mean, you can just try it out and see how it works, and plan on having this take a little bit of time so that it's something that you can become familiar with and smooth with as you work on it. So that's about it for this week. Good luck with your video editing learning, and then also your finishing up of the video project.